Welcome everybody. So tonight's presentation and practical outside will be on space, and yeah, space and also the practical of how do we actually get in a good position so that we can see that they're offside or onside. So we'll start off with we've got 4 nice little bloopers I thought we'd start with, because the refs, obviously we need to be in the right space, but it's not quite the space we're going to be talking about, but I thought it'd be funny. Oh, that wasn't that good. Oh, same guy. Yeah. Our friend Angus, he refs the bay a bit. I think the good bit about that is that he could get to his whistle to actually blow it. Whereas this one, he didn't quite get there.
Pick it up. Pick it up. Not rolling away.
So that's a bit of Dan on the weekend. Biggest tackle we've ever made, you reckon? So,
Did you get the ball?
the cool thing is he had a GoPro on, so he's got two lots of footage of what it looks like from there and what it looks like from the bottom of a ruck, which I've never experienced before. So today we're going to be talking about space. First of all, just have a bit of a yarn with your little group around beside you. What is space to you, and what's the importance of it? Feedback in about 30 seconds. I changed.
In terms of players, sort of like you said, space between the attack and D. For us as refs,
I changed.
being in the right space and see what you can see at the right time. What space to us?
Where to be when? Where to be when?
Where to be and when? Us or the players?
Us.
Cool, us, yep, that's important. I think we might have thrown us with the videos at the start. So space in terms of this, that's definitely fine. And this presentation is going to be about our positioning, but we're more talking about the space that is in between the attacking and defending teams. So when we talk about space, we're talking about how much room, how much space has the attackers got to play with. So we're talking about the offside line at the back of the ruck, 5 metres back from the scrum, where can the halfback go, 10 metres, kick chase, those kind of things. So having heard that now, probably through you with the videos, in terms of getting in the right spot, have a chat now about those things, so our offsides, the distance, and what's the importance of us getting good space in the game for the teams. Cool? Track. So yeah, we're going to be doing our positioning. The idea of doing the positioning out there tonight is so that we can get in a better position to see the offside lines, okay, as well as the ball and what's happening in the breakdown. So let's just share a little bit about what you guys talked about. Now we know what space is, which is around the offside lines, and giving the attacking team as much room to move as they can so that they can show their flair.
It's cutting down their options.
Yep.
If the space disappears,
Yep.
they've got less option for the attacking moves that they want to make.
Yeah. Cool. Anybody else?
I think knowing their game plan and what they want to do helps you out a little bit too. So, if they've got these moves they want to do, you're not in their way as well.
Yep. So giving them room to do those moves.
Yeah.
Eh? So it's really important. Like I heard Rito say it just before. Most of the coaches and players just want, and that's the biggest pet peeve for them, is that we don't give them enough space to play because people are offside, especially on things like kick chase or the kick off even. We often got players in front, but we're not really pulling it up. So they want us to pull those things up because that metre or metre and a half that they're in front can impact the way that they catch the ball or the pressure that they're put under when they're catching the ball. And if we can be in good positions to be able to see that stuff, like when they kick it, we actually check both ways rather than just watching the kick go downfield, then we'll be able to give them that space to play, and if we need to ping it, we'll play advantage. Or the other thing we can do is just manage out of it and start using their numbers or names. And I had that on the weekend a couple of times when I had the ARs calling back a player on the kick chase, but they didn't listen. But we can manage that stuff out without actually having to go offside, or we have to penalise it. So we want them to have space, and line speed's another one that that's always one I get before the game. Oh, ref, we're going to have really good line speed. We're not offside, just letting you know. We just got good line speed and we're working on it. And even in the Mitre 10 Cup change room, when they're talking to the ref, they're still saying that sort of stuff as well. And I agree sometimes that they have good line speed, and we actually have to make sure that we're not guessing when we turn and they're already up hitting the 10, we're not guessing that they're offside, because I know when I was playing with Rito, he'd get pinged all the time and be frustrated for that because he was actually onside. He just literally sprinted full tit to catch it.
I was just watching one of my clips too, and there was one where Dom from MAC flew up and I called offside. I just watched it. He wasn't offside. He was just quicker than the rest, so it makes him look offside. You've got to be really careful not to ping those ones because they piss you off, eh?
Yeah. And there'll be some where they just think they've got good line speed, but they were way off, or they were just never back in the first place. That's one where they get a bit confused. They think they got back and then they boost it. Good timing, but they're actually never back. They're still a metre in front of that line. So for them it can be frustrating. So if we can try and get those ones right, that'll be cool. Yeah, so the rush defence from out wide, that's normally that, probably a lot of our grades would be that sort of third player running up trying to make a big hit, being a bit of a hero but offside. And again, they're just shutting down all the options for the attacking team. So if that player comes up, they're offside. It might be way out there, but they've actually made that first five or second five who's got the ball change their decision from actually going wide to having to go back in or take it in. So that's actually impacting them quite a bit. So yeah, make sure we're looking out there.
Can we just go back to that line speed one
Yep.
just a second? Because to get that right, your positioning needs to be bloody spot on,
Yep.
doesn't it? Because if you're in the wrong position and you go through this,
Yep.
then that fraction of a second taken from there to there
Yep.
to see where they're coming up, as opposed to watching them sort of side on.
What's
So
that?
positioning's really key, wouldn't it be?
That
Yeah.
and knowing when to look. Okay, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter if they're offside until that ball's come out of the ruck. As long as they get
It's key to
back,
play.
so that
Yeah.
ball's come out, then it's bang check, or it's
Yeah.
it's checking at the right time
Yeah.
and being in the right spot to check. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's why we're going to do the second half of our session out with the cones, actually going through, okay, what is a good position? When do we check? We'll get the ball coming back like a halfback, sort of bringing it back out of the ruck. When's the contest over versus is it still a contest and they're fighting for it? There's a lot of feet on it, or it's already won and it's ready to go. And then we'll be able to get, when actually do we actually need to check out there, like Rito was saying, rather than standing there, the ball's in the ruck. The ruck's the most important. We're going, it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't matter about those guys really until that's all won and ready to go. Then we need to check. So if we can get our positioning right, or at least know when to check and work on it, then we're probably going to get a lot more of the offside calls correct, versus maybe like what Rita was talking about, that guy rushing up and we're penalising him because we turned around too late and we're kind of guessing and it looks really bad, but actually it's all good. So yeah, I think the team's do all right, but if they don't, then yeah, we need to be in a good position to get it. So set piece, obviously we've got to be 5 metres back from the scrum. Can anybody tell us what the halfback can do? The defending halfback, what are the options? This is one that always gets asked, and the Premier halfbacks don't even know this rule either because they keep asking us and we're like, yes you can do whatever it is.
They can start, or they have to start with opposition halfback. When the ball is put in, they can drop to the 8 It's too long or long.
Cool. So one of the options is that.
One of them.
Yeah. If they start with the other halfback, then they can only go back to the number 8's feet, and then they can go anywhere along the field. And it doesn't actually really say it in the law book, it's just got this picture of a line that goes all the way across the field. So until someone finds something different, it's not really well written, but they can go all the way across. If they want to start on the other side, they can't start on the other side, they have to start with the halfback. Or their other option is to actually start back 5 metres. So you can actually go back to with the 10 and the 12. That would be an interesting option if you did that, but you are allowed to do that. Otherwise you must be with the next to the other halfback. And the halfbacks can put the ball on either side of the scrum. Some people think it's just the left because that's where everyone puts it, but that's just because the hooker on their team is closest to them is why they normally put it on the left side. Why would you put it in when the other hooker is going to get the first crack at it? But you might see someone, for tactical reasons, especially in sevens, actually go to the other side. So that other halfback, the defensive halfback, has to come around with that player to start with. So yeah, back 5, a couple of clips, it's probably just, I don't know if it's going to be really a full screen, but you guys got good eyes because you're all refs. Did we all see the D? Pop up in the corner, yeah, way off. One other thing is probably more of a higher level thing, but something to be aware of is sometimes we see the attacking team way up, especially if they're like 5 metres out from the try line and they're trying to score a try. They might actually be up about 3 metres away from the scrum, the last feet of the scrum, because they want quick flat ball. So it's something to be aware of as we do, just before we do the crouch call, that we actually check both sides to see if they're both back, and if the attacking team's up too far, then we need to get them back as well. And at the higher levels, if that happens, normally we might let it go a little bit, and if they go up, that means that if the defending team comes up as well, that we're okay with that. But that's not until the higher one. So let's make sure that we're getting 5 metres on the defensive team and 5 from the attacking team as well.
I think it's pretty common at the moment, what's happening in club over here, the defensive side are anticipating the ball coming out of the scrum. And the moment the halfback's already going down the bend, they haven't touched the ball yet. They're anticipating and they're moving.
Yeah.
They're offside, they're killing the game.
And they can't see the ball, like they actually can't see the number 8 if it's out or not, especially if the scrum turns a bit. So that's almost a trigger when the scrum turns a bit, that they could be offside as well, because they can't actually see when it's coming out. It's quite hard.
Very rarely, you know.
Yeah. I suppose if you don't have ARs, it's pretty hard to be focusing on the scrum, eh? Like you've got all this stuff happening and you want to get the right outcome of the scrum to actually, and see the ball come out, to be able to check way out there and see if all those players are onside. It is challenging, but again, it's probably just going to come down to some just little tweaks in our positioning and when we want to look up rather than just leaving them at all. But our main focus really is the scrum, eh? So that's when it can be a bit more challenging.
Have to be aware of that, just to point up to you as well, that sometimes the attack will be set side, but they'll break early.
Yeah.
So they'll start to come before the ball actually comes out. So if they break, then give leeway to the defence as well, they can go as well. Or you get a ping, or you just ping the attack, say, inside the 5. So you've got to be aware of that. Has the defence gone up because the attack's broken the line, or have they gone up because they're generally offside? They are genuinely offside.
Yeah. Just check both teams. Another one there. Good call, ref. So the impact of that is that the kicker was put under immense pressure and probably could have kicked it another 10 metres, possibly, if he wasn't. So 2 or 3 metres for a kicker is a huge amount of time to be able to actually clear a nice kick. So we'll make sure we get that, which that ref did. Yep, line out 10 metres back. I don't know, I personally practice getting the 10 metres, especially when it comes to the bigger games, trying to make sure that we get the 10 metres right. One thing that annoyed me was when the AR would go back 12 metres and make me go back 12 metres, and it was clearly too much, and that can be really frustrating. 11 metres is probably okay, but if we go too much, that actually works the opposite, and then they just kind of want to test us. So, but make sure they've got lots of space, 10 metres back. Attackers as well, again, same as the scrum. Often they'll want a flat ball, like the second five knows he's going to get a ball off the halfback flat, and they're already starting to creep up and they're running, and they just catch it right there on the gain line. If you see that, you might not actually see if he is offside, but if you see that far, he got that flat, then maybe on the next line out, that's a cue to say, hey, on the last one, you're pretty quick, make sure you're back to 10, and then hopefully you can have a look at that too on the next one. But don't guess it again though. Don't go, oh shit, he caught that flat, so he must have been offside, because some of them are pretty quick too. If the ball's thrown, it says it there actually, thrown like really high over the back and it goes past the 15, what happens when the ball goes past the 15? It's over, anyone can go. So you might, if, I don't know about in the lower grades, but it might happen, they might have that tactic. Normally it's like a 5 metres out on defence and they'll throw it way over the top, and then they only have to run up 5 metres and the first 5 will catch it, or probably a bigger second 5. So something to be aware of. If they catch it on the full out the back, they probably started on side anyway. It's just, they can, it's a pretty big risk if you're not a good thrower, but to get it straight to begin with, but to get it down the back and court on the full, having to run 10 metres. If they do that again, on the next one, be like, just check it, because it's probably unlikely that they can get that far. Ball must be lifted. Cool, breakdown. So yeah, ball must be lifted before the defence can advance, and we need to protect the halfback. So if you're the halfback, you're the protected species. Okay, not just because you've got the number 9 on you, it's any person who's at the back ready to clear the ball. So they can't come through and take you out. I think I had that on the weekend, I agree with you. So I missed that on the weekend. And then, so trying to be consistent at that too, because there's quite a few times when they do come through and they say, I'm bound, ref, and I just came through the middle, and that's all good, but they still can't play that last person who's going to clear the ball, even if they come through the middle of the ruck. And as we know, once you make a tackle, now you have to go back around into the gate. You can't go from any direction. Some players still don't know that. They just think, I'm the tackler, I can grab it. So just make sure that we're aware of that too, that you make a tackle, you've got to go through the gate. And, cool, getting back to the last beat. That's hands and feet as well, not just your feet. I had one on the weekend where here's the offside line, the black tape, and he's like this. And then they just go like this and try and get him down. Their feet and hands must be back if they're going to go into that position, or they can be up here. But they can't be down here waiting to stop. It's normally right on the goal line when that happens. And just penalise it. And if you get the first one, rather than waiting for the third or fourth, then they'll hopefully stop it.
Tips, one of the worst offenders of not dropping back is the thrower. Because they'll come back in and they'll hang about halfway up the ruck or more in that 5 area. Just keep blocking that area off.
Yeah. What's that?
Effectively act as a pillar.
Yeah. So in those pillars, you see it on TV a lot, where they're in front. We can't allow that to happen. You're offside if you're in front of the ball. So you see those players when I don't know how many box kicks we get these like in our grades, but they're just setting up to block out for a box kick, but they're all in front. And yeah, if they're really bad, start penalising. If they're just, I mean, up to you on that one. But yeah, sometimes they just try to make a wall so that you can't defend or charge down a box kick. Yeah, what are the teams trying to do? That's that hands and feet stuff. They're trying to just stop it from getting to the line, eh? Desperation, they're trying to get round fast. They're probably going to make mistakes with that. So those retiring players not getting back there. Like we said before, they don't have to get back until that ball's ready. But if we do spot them and we know they're out there, then we can maybe even talk to them and get them back. And they get back without having to look at them. And then if they're out really wide, so I put up there just like the impact or on play, like if they are way out there on the wing and they're offside and you see they're offside and then they don't really do anything, but they're like a metre offside and they're kind of like this and then they're not impacting at all, we don't need to penalise those ones. But if it's close, like that one there, the ball actually came out to those players, so they now have stopped the opposition from getting to the game line. But if they're way out and we see they're way out, or they're slightly offside and then they go back straight away, if nothing's actually, there's been no impact on it, we can just actually let those ones go. Or
Is it
leave.
the same from a ruck when the defensive line is loading, so they're feet are on, they're ready to go, and they're actually waiting for the half, and the half kind of juggles it back and they leave, but it hasn't actually come out. You know what I mean? Like, so
So they're offside, yep.
Do you let them go or do you let them sit back?
If they misjudge it slightly and it's still in the ruck and they go like this and then the halfback's still waiting there, would probably not penalise these guys. If they made a good effort, like they just jump the gun and then they're like this. But if the halfback's about to pass, they go like this and then he's passing, then yeah, you've put pressure on the half, you've put pressure on the 10 and anyone else who's going to get the ball. So we just have to realise that if they go and then they go back, sorry ref, and it's still sitting there, then they haven't had a big impact on it. But yeah, if the half's getting it out and they do that, then blast them. In front of the kicker, happens quite a bit. Big impact really on the back three if they want space to run it. Like if you think about some of the good players we have out there, good fullbacks, they want to be able to have time so that they can play and have options to either kick it, run it, step and come in, whatever they want, or give a wide pass. So make sure that we are checking them. And it was Vinnie Munro telling me and Rito one time, it doesn't matter, like if you're here and the breakdown's down there and there's a box kick, and you don't have to sprint down there and be the first one to the ball. I've had to get that through my mind because I like running and getting in line. But it's actually better if you just kind of stand there and go and just check. You can even turn your back on the ball and just check, make sure everyone's on side first. Or just go there. We always check that side and then sometimes we forget to check that side. And it's normally that centre that's going bomb, rushing up out in the centres. And again, if the centre's offside, they're going to be putting pressure on because now you've cut down this fullback's options who's on the 15. He can only really go this way now, which is back into all the fatties. So he probably wanted to go wide to his winger. So we need to get this side as well. That's probably more important than these ones. Because once it gets kicked down there, it's probably going to go wide or out to the midfield again. So check, box kick, you know it's coming. Boom, check that side, yep, they're on, and then go like that. Not a hard thing to do, but it is a mindset change to actually go, shit, I'm going to check both ways, and I'm not going to worry about the ball. Okay? Because you're still going to get down there and see the ball, it's going to be sitting up in the air. If it's like a little one and it's grubbering along the ground, then you're probably less likely to check out there, but if you can,
The harder one, the tips is the broken play, the hook it back to the fullback and he's sort of run 10 metres and decided to hook it back. You've got a whole lot of fat guys in the middle of the field, don't know which way to run. A couple of them run 5 metres before it back passes them. They don't really have any impact, but they have advanced, but they're not really having any impact on where the ball ends up.
So that 10 metre rule's the 1A, so if you're within 10 metres of where the ball's caught, then you need to actually be moving back, making effort to get back towards the kicker. So that's a key. So look at those close ones if they're close, and make sure they start getting back. They'll probably run further because they don't know what 10 metres is anyway. But that's where our comms come in, and the other ones, just yell at them.
Yeah.
If you've got a number, that's great. If you don't have a number, then winger, centre, just say winger, because even if it's not the winger, they'll probably know who you're talking about because you're on the wing. And just yell at them. If they don't listen, then penalty. Most times they go, oh shit, and then they stop. That's all good. And they might stop and not impact. If they do make an impact though, they've already run 10 metres and you've called it twice, then we need to be pulling those ones up.
Can you go back tips?
Yep.
So two of the biggest ones that we probably miss is when in front of kickers, when the kicker's deep inside is on the dead ball line, pretty much on the dead ball line. and the chasers are standing at the try line, and they think because they're in goal they're onside, they're actually offside.
Yeah.
So they kick and they just start chasing from 10 metres in front. They're actually offside, so just make sure that there is someone behind the kicker. And the other one is, it could be in any situation where the kicker, he kicks and he stays and there's no one behind him, and then guys just start advancing. So just, they're probably two pitches that you can sort of just note down and take notice of those and pick up. To get those two, you probably want to get it early in the game as well, if you do get it, because then it sets your standards, and then I guarantee you won't happen again in the game. And they'll question you why, especially on the in-goal one, but I was behind the goal line. They don't realise that they're offside.
This one's really relevant for me from my game on the weekend. I gave too many penalties and didn't escalate it, and what happened was there was more penalties. So that was my big learning from the weekend. So escalating, if there's like, how many do you reckon? How many do you reckon in a row before we start giving a warning to the captain at least?
Is that the same infringement or general?
Yeah, maybe we'll come up with a scenario, like they're all from the 10 metre back to their goal line on defence, and there's 3 of them and they might all be different. One's offside, one's hands in the ruck slowing it down, and the other one's not rolling away.
Time period?
Time period?
How long? Those 3 penalties?
Oh, yep. So 7 minutes, about 7 minutes. We've had 3 penalties down there.
That would be time to dish the warning.
Time to dish the warning.
It's all disruptive.
Yeah.
Whole lot's negative play.
Cool. I agree. Wish I did that on the weekend. Would have helped me out big time. So not everyone's going to be the same, and it's going to, like Rito's, it's going to depend on the time. If it's 30 minutes between those 2 and then the next 2, then that's a different scenario. But if there's 5, then we haven't given it out early enough, within 10 minutes, and then that's what happened to me. Then they're just going to keep infringing because it's okay. We've let it be okay. So it is important we escalate it, we give that warning, and don't be afraid to say the next one's yellow. Some people don't agree with that and try not to use that word, or just give them, that's now 3, and it's like, well, you haven't actually told them what the consequence is going to be. And once they hear the consequence, we know that they'll at least talk to their players and try and manage it themselves so that they don't get the yellow card, because that's a big, it's hard for you to play with 14 players or 13. So it says, I don't know what the clip is, but we're going to skip it so we can go outside soon. But so you identify the problem. That was my problem. I didn't identify the problem. Clearly state what the required changes. So we've now had 3 penalties, all in the red zone, and within 5 minutes. Okay, outline the consequence. If it doesn't change, then we're going to be looking at yellow cards or something along those lines. You can have your own little speech. Probably good to practice it too, because we can get mixed up with our words. And so I try and practice that. And seek understanding. So, do you understand? Yes, sir, we understand. Or you, whatever. But then we've taken pressure off us now. Once we've asked them, do they understand now it's their responsibility? It's all off us and onto them. So if they do it again and you pull out a card, they've agreed to it, and there shouldn't be too much moaning about it. There probably still will be. So John, it's 2 offsides in a row. I need your players to get back behind the last foot at the ruck. If this helps, if this happens again, it'll be a yellow card. Do you understand? Clear, short. The less talking the better, because then we can start, if we do too many words, we start chucking in random stuff and making ourselves look a bit silly.
Mr. Captain says no.
Never had that. Could be a good one.
Sorry, just ensure though, if you say this happens again, it'll be a yellow card, just make sure it is, because if you don't, your history is gone.
All your credibility's out the door.
Yep.
From both teams too, from that team who's going to infringe again and again and again after you didn't give it, and then the other team's going, you just warned them.
I think you need to be a little bit careful on that though. If you say that and they're good for 20 minutes, then you wouldn't go yellow card next one. No. It has to be, I don't know what the time is, but you get a feel, you know whether it's been enough time that it's been okay and your chat has worked or not. But
and I think you're talking here, Rito, more when that team is defending for that period of time.
Yeah.
You know, it could be the next 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes or thereabouts. But the other way is, if this happens again, then if you don't want to say it will be a yellow card, you can say it'll be back in my hands.
That's it.
And I'll deal with it, that, you know, it'll be back in my hands and it'll be escalated from there, rather than putting yourself straight in jail.
And what you said you pretty much said, I'm going to give you a yellow card, but you didn't say it.
Yep.
But we all know what that means.
Painting me into a corner.
So yeah, try and, trust me, it works, and I didn't do it, and it didn't work. It was a horrible, horrible performance. So we're going to go outside, and it's all good talking about all this stuff, but if we can't get in the right position to see it, then it's going to be difficult on Saturday. So when you go under the stand, it's nice and dry. Rito and Dan and I will tell you what to do. The coaches, put your hands up. How many we got? Coaches in here? 1, 2.
I didn't bring an umbrella. Oh, sorry.
It's under the stand, so it's all good. So maybe 2 coaches on each half of the drill. It's just a drill with a ruck, and then one side of defenders, the other side of defenders. And we'll go through a couple of positional things with how we might move our feet. A real easy thing we can all practice at home without having to go to a field or anything. And then we'll try to put it into practice, and the coaches and us will give you some feedback on what you did, and hopefully you can just recognise what you could change just to get that visual out wide and look at the right time, like Rita was saying before. So we're going to talk about, is there a contest, or is the contest over? That's going to be our key words today. And then when we check. Okay? So if you've got shoes, even if you've got bare feet, you should be right. And we'll go out. You're going to have problems because they can't see. And also it means you have to turn your head a long way. So if you can start back about the yellow cones in line with the half back with your inside leg up. Okay? The inside leg's important, so can everyone just pretend that you're in the position I am with your right leg forward? And what that means is when you turn, you can turn like this easily. If you're like this, it's a bit more difficult. You're going to cross your body. And once the ball's coming back, so Rito's actually going to either go really slow and make it a contest. And when he looks like he's going to pick it up, contest over. Oh, go back. I missed the cue. Contest over, and he's about to pick it up. I haven't checked yet. I'm going to step in, and now check. Okay? So Rito, can you just pull contest over? So I'm not putting it out here yet. Contest over. Blue. I forgot the rules. So someone's going to be holding either a blue, white or yellow cone, and you've got to tell us what colour it is. Okay? That's just to show if you actually check or you just went like that. Okay?
You've got to do it. It's quick and you're going to stay at that.
It'll be me and Rito who are doing it, but if they go offside, then you have to say offside as well. Okay? Most of them will be onside, but some of them we might go. Yep, so here we go. This is the only running you have to do. Come in, give yourself space. Yellow. Boom, the next person runs in, I go back around the cone and we keep swapping over. Just work half and half so that we get used to our feet. Which foot are we going to have up on this side?
Right.
Right foot. Yeah, so there's 2 ways. That's a good point. So you can, if you want, you can go like this. So you don't get anything. Contest over. I can go boom, yellow, and then here. That's another way. So you can do that if you want.
That's more on football. Yeah. If you've got that slow ball, then you can roll it.
So here, check, blue. Okay. So that's 2 ways. I just wanted to go through one so it wasn't too complicated. But if you want to choose between the 2, that's all good. So you can either go boom and then turn, or just go check.
On that last one, you just do have to be aware of runners coming into here. So if you've got your back turned, the partner's got right behind you, you're checking, you just got to, I don't know, you've got to sense it, get a bit of awareness, look at the defenders, are they ready to make it in, or are they half asleep sort of thing? Just got to read that when you need to get out of the way.
This is my exit strategy, so I go wrong, captain's field, oh shit, I'm in the way, they're running to me, I just go like this. Just move out of the way and then they just hit the air and you can just around it. But don't keep running this way, because they'll keep running this way. Okay? Just try and get to the side and let the feet tackle there.
So it puts the ideal space between
You want to get that when you go through.
between the referee, the halfback, and obviously the attacking team.
If there's a real contest,
space as well, don't you?
yeah, if there's a real contest,
Yeah.
then you might want to manage something over here.
Yeah.
Edge away, go! Okay, and then you might have to go here early so that they can run up.
Yeah.
If there's nothing to manage and it's like a nice, beautiful tackle and looks clean, then there's no point running over there.
Yeah.
You could go out here if you want.
A lot of stuff to do with where this is occurring. Yeah. Do the line. Yeah.
So if there's a big contest and you want to manage something with your words, then you might want to be closer so they can hear. If there's nothing to manage and there's like a big open side, then you can go wider. You're actually safer wider too, like you're safer because you've got more time to get out of the way. You can see the offsides here and here. You can see all these.
Really, you probably do want to be sort of 7 metres. If you're too close, you're going to get too tunnel vision. You're not going to see that inside stuff and that. You're going to be too ball focused. If you're more where it's now, you've got that wider peripheral. You're here like you do need to manage. Yeah, sweet as you need to manage. You don't want to be standing here the whole time. You're not going to see those little stuff that's in your peripheral.
But another thing, you don't want to be too far back here. If you're like on a 45-degree angle to that, it's not going to go up. Not if I'll play it anyway, I put my 45. So can you just come up to the yellow cones? And I want you to just practice the pivot first before we even do any running. So right leg up, left leg up, that's what we're doing. So we're right leg. And I'll go to the ball in a minute and tell you, you can say it again. Hold up. Turn, kick. Make sure you kick. There you go. Everybody's going to go on the ball, so now we're all going off the ball, not
I'd say a lot of people check your side way anyway.
my group is right.
I have the ball here, and I see he's still further around. So if we're doing the bowling routine, as soon as I say contact's over, I'll be coming forward. We're still looking at the ball. As soon as that ball is picked up,
once we're here, I'll be a defender, you come in here, you do that. I'll be a defender, boom, then I'm running up there. You're safe now, you're over that space. If you only get to here, then you're going to get shunted. So get into the gap. So your position might depend on if there's a gap or not in front of you. If there's two big dudes right here, I don't care where I'm going, whether it's either there or the other way. Hey, because you're going to hit me on purpose, or you're just going to block me out. Oh, so listen to the contest.
contest over.
Right, we'll do two more, and then we'll run it. Has anyone not even done this before, or thinking about what they do? Probably never thought about it. One, two, three, to turn. Right, well, let's practice.
All right, quick ball this time. Right, do you want to say no that you all did? Then you check. Quick ball. Check, turn, then come in. You got to check the other side first if it's quick ball. Otherwise, it's going to be ball's out, turn, then you're checking. The course guys are going to be up here by the time you check. That's when you're going to go up the side.
So if we going to run him now. Run him from your foot. We're jogging. You do that. So Phil's going to coach you. If you get it right, he's going to say awesome. Phil's going to have the cones. I'm going to have the cones. Contest is over. Right, let's go straight away. Contest is over.
What colour?
Oh, get the colour, right.
Contest. Keep on your own side as well.
Contest is over.
Blue?
Practice your little step in the back while you wait. It's just that foot up, eh? Boom, boom. No one's colourblind?
White onside.
If we can just leave here with one thing each that we got from that we can work on and take into the weekend or into the week, that'd be cool. So just one thing each before you go. Don't be that last guy, you'll be here all night.
Inside foot. We started here.
Inside foot, see you later.
Scanning.
Scanning when?
When you turn.
Cool, nice. See you later.
I think that timing to turn it, as to when you recognise the contest turn over, as opposed to when they're at the ball.
Yeah, cool. See ya. Beauty. Not rushing you. And if you rush and you're too slow, that shit happens. You're going to get there sometimes too late. Then just get that check at least. And then you can do something. Yeah. Someone did mention the jockey too. If the ball's clearly on that side and there's a pod over there and it's not coming back this way, you don't want to stand all about here. And that's when you can go into that jockey and start going around. But anything else? Or you can say the same thing as someone else?
No, guess it.
Cool.
Nice. Pivot the right way.
See you. Nice. See you, Jazzy.
Pivot the right way.
Yeah. Go with the ball. Like,
South side, call it.
You got to have one thing before you go. Safe seat.
I was just going to say space. I was just going to say space.
Sweet. See you.